Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're well. So today's stream will be carrying on from last week's stream. Is property still the way, or is Bitcoin a smarter play now? So it's real estate versus property. Okay, so let's just dive into what we went over last live stream. So we covered my own personal real estate journey. For those people who are unaware, I got into real estate. So I bought my first property when I was 17. And then I bought my house, the one that I'm currently in, when I was 21. In between, then I bought multiple other little things here and there, mainly over abroad. But I was fully paid off, and I have been mortgage free since 2020, the pandemic. Um, so every nothing that I say in this live stream is financial advice. I was very, very lucky because I was able to do the sacrifices that most people are not able to do. Um, and then I can get into that as well, just very, very quickly. But the choice between Bitcoin and real estate does depend on your goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, and market conditions. Back when I bought my first two properties, or when I bought my properties, I wasn't into cryptocurrency. In fact, it was when I became mortgage free that I had a surplus amount of money, which would give me panic attacks. And then that's how I discovered Bitcoin, because I had this extra cash that I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And it's a huge product topic, and I'm not sure if we can fit it all into this live stream. So we may have another live stream again on this same subject. So we did last live stream, we did cover the traditional ways people bought houses. And as 34% of my viewers are American, we will be focusing on the American real estate market. But whatever happens in America, because it is the world's largest country, world's largest economy, and the dollar is the world's reserve currency, whatever happens in America spills over, happens everywhere else. We'll cover things like mortgages and hand-me-down properties, which is something that I want to focus on in this live stream, because a lot of people are not really understanding that they might not get that money. So I'm not entirely sure if they can really rely on it. We're not going to go into a lot of detail about inflation and the debt crisis, nor are we going to go into a lot of detail about the job crisis, unemployment, cost of living, etc. But I'll give you my thoughts. If I had to start all over again, if I was buying a property now, bearing in mind most of the people that I know, most of my cousins still have not bought their own property. So I am 20, 30 years ahead of them. But if I was to do it all again, what would I do now that I know about Bitcoin and the adoption Bitcoin is having? Bearing in mind there's never been an actual all-time high on Bitcoin. We've just hit local tops as we're going up. Since the inception of Bitcoin, we've never really been in a bear market. Bitcoin has just literally gone up like that. Okay, so just before we get into or we do any more, I see there's quite a few of you in the chat. So we had Mike Volmer first, and we had Silver Days, RXRP man. Welcome to you. We had the beautiful Lauren, who's absolutely amazing. She's a fellow Brit. And then we had Mr. Alex Storyteller. We had Gary Littlemore. I'm not entirely sure where Gary's from. We have Chipper and Baldock. Baldock, I believe, is from the Netherlands. We had Frizz, who is our lovely Irish friend. We do love the Irish. A lot of respect for the Irish and what they're doing for Palestine. We have War Paint. Good morning to you as well. Oh, I better put these on the War Paint. Good morning to you as well. And we have Dodgeball. Good morning to you. Actually, good afternoon. It is afternoon here. We have David. David, thank you for sharing my live streams and all the support that you're giving me on X. Just like our next person, Black Hat Team, who's absolutely amazing, and we have our fellow Brit, Rob C. Let's have a look. Frizz is saying Bitcoin is the smarter play. Infinity Supply. Supply is getting eaten up by Michael Saylor and all the others and the institutions and soon to be the United States government, not just the United States government. The other day, I was doing some research into Nigeria. So back in 2021, the government in Nigeria was not Bitcoin friendly. However, grassroots, i.e., what country, the citizens of what country are buying up the supply of Bitcoin the most? It's first the Chinese and then it's Nigeria. I was quite surprised about that. China has had a very much love-hate relationship with Bitcoin, which we all know. I do have issues with my hair because I can't I literally do not have time to go to a hairdresser. But yeah, I'm glad it's smooth today. Mortgage free feels good. Oh gosh, it feels so good. Oh my god. Like the stuff that I can tell you, because I do talk to a lot of people about finances and wealth, etc. I've just had a friend who has had to remortgage her property, and it's gone from something like 600, 700 pounds to double that to almost 1400 pounds. Bearing in mind this friend has a family, both she and her partner are working, they still cannot afford this mortgage. Yeah, well, not of the panic attacks. Yes, it's very, very difficult. Oh my God, the amount of people in the world right now, especially in the UK, and I'm sure it's the same in America and the Netherlands and all the other places, but the amount of people that are suffering, the families that are suffering, is absolutely crazy. The cost of living crisis has not gone anywhere. Dodgeball is in the Netherlands, they want tax. They want tax on everything. So if you're mortgage free, you've got to pay tax on everything. Yeah, tax is another thing. They tax us everywhere. And then you finish off by saying he's ridiculous, which it is quite frankly ridiculous. They take money from everywhere. We've got Nightbot in the house. Bulldog. You guys are just talking to yourselves, and I'm reading the conversations as I go. In a ponytail, I could do next time. Okay. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very difficult nowadays even to get a job and to buy real estate. What do you need? You need a huge amount of money for the deposit, and then also to get a better mortgage rate. The whole system is built for wealthy people, if that makes sense. Average Joe is really, really struggling. Okay, so One House Productions, good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. I hope you're well. Good for you to good of you to join us. Okay, so buying real estate used to be the American dream. It was buying the real estate, having the wife, having the kids, living off the land. It is now significantly harder for most Americans today to buy real estate compared to their grandparents' generation, and this is due to a combination of income stagnation, house prices inflation, interest rates, supply shortages. Now, just imagine if the Americans do not have the amount of property or the property that people want. Just imagine places like the UK or the Netherlands, because I know a lot of my viewers are from the Netherlands. We're much smaller countries, and there's only so much land here. In the UK, we're building flats um, like anything, because people cannot, and our houses are getting smaller and smaller. If we thought we had small houses to begin with, they're getting smaller and smaller. And if you actually look at the older, like houses that were built 100 years ago, the cottages, they're actually so much more easier to live in than houses nowadays as well. So this is some of the stuff that we covered in the last stream, which I'll go over quite quickly. In the 1950s to the 1970s, which is for most people our grandparents' age, a medium home cost 2 to 3 times the average salary, the household income. And bearing in mind, at that time, the wife would normally stay at home and look after the children. It was mainly dependent on the man, on the husband, to go out and work. And today it's often 6 to 8 times the income, and it's much higher in places like California, New York, London, Brussels, or Sydney. The larger countries, it's far more difficult to buy and have income. Even in London, even if you have a good job in London, even the crappiest, smallest place are just ridiculously overpriced. Homes are far less affordable to what people earn nowadays. And when we look at things like down payments, which are incredibly difficult to save up for. So 20% down payment in the 1970s might have been 5,000 US dollars. Nowadays, 20% down payment might be 80,000 or more. And this is more than people can save in total. Just like Lauren was saying, it's difficult to get jobs. And then it depends. Are you living at home? Are you living on rent? Because if you're living on rent, you're literally giving away a lot of your money anyway. Younger people also, or nowadays, we have things like student debt. It is so difficult nowadays to even get a down payment. And we'll be talking about parental help and grandparents' help in a minute. Mortgage rates are a lot higher as well, just like I was talking about my family, my friend earlier. There's high demand as well. So back in the 1960s and 70s, America built 1.5 to 2 million homes per year. In the 2010s and 20s, home building has dropped, especially affordable starter homes. There's labor shortages, land costs, and restrictions. Fewer homes, more people, and bidding wars. And obviously inflation on top. And nowadays, oh my God, the bidding wars are absolutely crazy. The cost of living and debt burdens are much higher. Our grandparents, for example, they didn't have student loans. They didn't have the very high cost of childcare, expensive healthcare. So even I myself in the UK, we do have the national insurance, the NHS, the National Health Service, which, if I'm completely honest, it is quite decent. Not brilliant, definitely not brilliant. But it's there if you need it. However, I myself, I even pay for private healthcare insurance, but that doesn't cover me for a lot of things. And then obviously the high childcare costs. Now, if I just look at my own family, I'm telling you how high these childcare costs are. So my sister, bless her, she has 3 children. So I have 1 nephew and 2 nieces from my younger sister. She puts she puts my nephew and my niece into childcare up until 4 o'clock. during the summer holidays. She's actually from Dubai. She's in the UK at the moment, and she's putting the children into childcare. It's costing her £500 a week. £500 a week. Now, thankfully, she's married to a rich man, which is amazing. Most of us are not married to rich men. Most of us will never be married to rich men. Um, and how can we afford childcare costs of £500 a week? It's absolutely ridiculous. The bottom line is it's harder to buy real estate now. Younger generations face a housing market where homes cost much more than what they can afford. Their income hasn't moved very much. Borrowing is more expensive. There's severe shortages of affordable options. Saving is harder due to financial pressures. And then obviously this in this live stream, we will talk about financial help from our parents and our grandparents, something that our grandparents and parents may have had, maybe even taken for granted. They probably expected family help. Nowadays, that doesn't exist. Why? We'll be getting into all of that. But the American dream for home ownership, it has not disappeared. But for many, it's delayed or it feels out of reach, especially without family support, dual incomes, or creative solutions like house hacking or co-buying. Silvio, my best friend in crypto, he recently moved from the Netherlands to Spain. And he did say that if he had to, thankfully they've now got their property, and I think they've paid off the mortgage, blah, de, blah, de, blah. But he's had a lot of help from friends, and he's been in crypto. This is his third cycle. They're all living together. I think they have a couple of generations in their in the home, which is absolutely beautiful. Oh my god, that is so beautiful. And then you don't have to worry about childcare. Obviously he doesn't have any kids yet, but when he does, fingers crossed for him, hopefully he'll find a nice girl. But it's out of reach, and not only that, it's the instant glorification when you go out and you buy something now. Store cards, credit cards, it is so easy to get things like payday loans and all the rest of it. And when you're feeling really down, because not only do we have a cost of living crisis, a housing crisis, we do have a mental health crisis. In fact, in the UK, and I can't speak for America, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be absolutely awful in America, men's mental health is not taken seriously. When I say it's not taken seriously, oh my god, do I mean it's seriously not taken? It's not taken seriously, to the point, I think, outside of natural causes, it is the leading cause of death. Suicide is. It's not taken seriously at all, which is quite frankly disgusting. But you know, it's one of those things. Let me just quickly have a quick look at the chat, see who else has arrived. Oh gosh, you guys are so talkative. I normally have between 800 to 1,000 comments. Okay, so we passed this. Lauren was saying it's difficult to get a job, and she's completely right. Yeah, it is. Here's something else that we haven't touched upon, and it's property tax, because you've got to pay that in the UK as well. They literally tax you on everything you buy, you sell, even if you gift, they will tax you. Americans like to vote for things that rise their taxes. Oh gosh. My parents' first house was 15,000. Now that same house is 650,000. Jesus, my goodness. Oh my God. Warpay, where do you live? That's beyond ridiculous. But it's true. It's true. When my parents bought their house, it was 3,000 £3,000. So obviously we're in the UK, £3,000. And it is pretty much that house, you know, 300 to between 3 to 400,000 pounds. So yeah, you can see how much it's gone up. wages have gone down, all the rest of it. These house prices have gone up. We've got the lovely John Legend in the chat. Welcome, John Legend. Thank you for all the times that you've been commenting on my videos. I notice. We've got David saying people in charge of property are greedy. They don't care about the local lower income people. It's just sad. It is very, very sad. But we're in this sort of thing now where not hating, especially not hating on my parents, but we've kind of been programmed to think that real estate is perhaps the most the best way to save and to build something, etc. My parents have a number of properties. But this is the thing, because they've got those properties, younger people or people, I'm not even joking, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and even their 50s still haven't bought their first home, which is crazy. I can't even imagine how house prices in London. I was watching location, and even just flats in London cost more than a house here in Cornwall. Very, very true. And the flats are probably rubbish, the ones that they're like showing. So, yeah, no, I completely get that. Proof the dollar is going to zero. And we're not hating on the dollar, but I completely agree with you, war paint. In human history, every single fiat currency has gone to zero. Every single empire has fallen. So it's only just a matter of time. It's very, very scary because China's expected to take over, and they don't have a good human's right record. But then saying that, America does not have a good human rights record either. But change is scary. House prices, I think prices are too high in many areas. Very true. Real estate sounds like a wonderful asset until you look at the maintenance and tax. Very, very true. Exceptionally true. I know. Oh my God. You could. Yeah. I speculate RE sum. Oh, resum. I've noticed that. And I've noticed there is no longer any negotiation between buyer and seller, and asking prices or more is the price set in stone. Yeah, and accepted. It is expected. It is expected. Not only that, they have. So recently, one of my friends, oh my God, because I talk to everyone about finances. So she and her husband bought one an amazing property. It was in a road that anytime on that road, if a property comes on for sale, it's snapped up literally within hours. It doesn't last a day. And what happened was that somebody walked it. So they snapped up the property. They had said, we're going to pay this X amount for it. The offer was accepted. Then apparently a couple of weeks later, somebody walks into the real estate estate agent, and says, "Well, I like that property that I've seen, that I know that you're advertising, and even though those people have, they're in a verbal contract." It's our right that you tell the owner that we would pay £10,000 more. And then they got into a bidding war, and they ended up paying £40,000 more for that same property. And to this day, they do not know if it was, say, the owner's brother that had walked in and said that, if that makes sense. Hello, Base Bailey. I hope you're well. Cardboard box houses, make sure to use waxed cardboard. Holds up better, lol. I'm not even joking. I will tell you what I would do if I was in this situation. The only issue is, with me is I like creature comforts, but I didn't have them when I was paying off my mortgage. You wouldn't be able to recognize me if you saw me when I was paying off my mortgage. You definitely would not have been able to recognize who I was. Not at all. Um, because I didn't spend any money on clothes. I didn't spend any money on literally anything. And I said this last week. I literally for 2 years lived on one frozen pizza for 2 years. Sorry, one frozen pizza a day for literally 2 years. That was literally what I was eating. And to the point, we used to put all of our money into the mortgage, that we had no money for anything else. But when you're in that situation, you tend to find things like going for a walk, going to the park. If you want a good meal, you go to your parents' house. Blah de da da. You do things about it. Yep, wax on and wax off. Oh, Bullducks just joined the Telegram group. Do know I do have a Telegram group and a Discord and an X account. I do have Twitch, but I don't even know if it's broadcasting on Twitch because I've never checked. Oh, so you're in California. Okay. That's true. I gifted a buddy of mine a Apple Mini Mac. Sent it to the UK. He had to pay £120 tax over it. Governments are thieves. That's ridiculous. But what you do is, if you wrap it up in sort of, I've just been told, gift. If it was a gift, say a birthday gift, if you wrap it up in birthday foil, then it's a gift, and I don't think they charge tax on that. I've been told. I've never used it. Useless eaters. We have supposed leaders referring to us as this might be the problem. Property taxes every year forever for something you only bought once. Very true. My grandparents built their own house for around 30,000, which is now worth around 80,000. Sorry, 800,000. 800,000, and they spent 30,000, and that's amazing. But what you'll notice nowadays is that a lot of people do not have the skills for plumbing, for electrics, and all the rest of it. Not in the UK. I do know people from, say, Eastern European, from the east of Europe, etc., who have come over to the UK. I've always found them really fascinating because they're plumbers and they're electricians and they're builders, and then they'll go out and work wherever. But they're able to do that. Nowadays, people don't know how to do how to even put up shelves. And I'm not even being funny. I can put up shelves. I'm half decent at DIY because I've had to learn. Yes, the parents and grandparents era is fading. It's hard to buy. It's hard to pay for houses nowadays, especially house repairs. 104 retirement by XRP. It will be like a studio flat for something like 400K. I was baffled. Yeah, China. Oh, yeah. You don't need. You don't need to be handsome, but you better be handy if you own real estate. That is very, very true. Oh, Poman, welcome and thank you for joining us. Yeah. Did someone convince you? Did someone convince you that such a years-long journey of sacrifice was reasonable? Nobody convinced me. I did it myself. I wanted to do it. I didn't want to pay a mortgage for a long time. Good day, Army Piper. I hope you're well. Good day, Alexandra G. Welcome. Harp, welcome. That's amazing, Poman. That's amazing. Okay, so the cost of housing has gone up. We've got stagnant wages, rising expensive, large down payments are required. We've got a debt burden, student loan debt, which is absolutely ridiculous. And do you actually need a student degree nowadays? I'm not being funny, but tradespeople in the UK kind of earn a little bit more generally than office workers in the UK. Don't know if it's the same in America and other places. Credit card debts, car payments. Oh my God. I told you guys the other last week, and I'll mention it again ever so slightly, that I know of a friend, an older friend who had whose son had 2 or 3 different car payments, car loans, and he became to the point he became suicidal. And her other son was saying, well, you know what, I need to take out some debt, I need to take out credit cards, car payments, car loans, etc., because I need to build up my credit score. Who told kids nowadays to build their credit score? Like, what's all that about? High monthly obligations are also affecting the ability to save, such as childcare costs, the cost of living, and obviously the wages are stagnated. Then you've also got to look at the psychological and behavior factors. So the short-term mindset, and I sometimes do have to be careful because I have different audiences. I have the Bitcoin maxis who have a very long-term mindset, which is my mindset. I'm very, very long-term mindset when it comes to Bitcoin. But the majority of people, and I do know a lot of people who are in the chat today, they're traders. They have the shorter term mindset, and it's easier to focus on the present needs, wants, and desires and work towards goals that are more achievable within the next year or so. Lifestyle, we've also got lifestyle. Almost inflation, if that makes sense. We are so bombarded with so much advertisement when it comes to things like what to buy, how to look, Instagram, TikTok, all the rest of it. Like literally everything that we look at on a day-to-day basis is all about buy this and you're going to be happy. Go to the gym, you're going to be happy. You know, everyone's going on holidays, all the rest of it, but these people are not saving. They've got a short-term mindset. For you to have a home and to pay off your mortgage, especially what I had, it had to be a long-term mindset. You cannot do it on a short-term mindset. And oh my God, I really don't say this to people as often as I should, but when I say it, I go absolutely ballistic. Do not come to me. I say this to my cousins. I go, do not come to me and say that you cannot afford the down payment on a house or a property, or you can't, get a mortgage, etc. Because when I go into your house, I see the largest TV, I see cars outside, I see the latest iPhone, or the computers, all the rest of it. And if they have nieces and nephews or kids, or whatever they have, they all have the same. Nowadays our phones are worth £1,000. I kid you not, if I didn't have the money, I buy my phone outright. I would never do this pay monthly £30 per month. I pay for a SIM, which is £10. I buy my phone, if that makes sense. And if I couldn't do it, if I couldn't afford £1,000 phone, I would get the cheap one. There is literally nothing wrong with it. In fact, I literally have respect for people who go around in a 10-year-old car. I have more respect for them rather than get the latest car out, because I know they've probably taken out a loan for that car, and I do not respect that personally. So yeah, so it's all about psychology and behavioral factors as well. And also it's keeping up with the Joneses. I'm not being funny, but I know how that feels. My sisters are married to very wealthy men, to the point it's first class tickets. It's like I was talking about my younger sister who has two children that she puts into daycare, and literally up until 4 o'clock, and it's 400. Sorry, it's £500 for a week. I couldn't afford that. No, I'd keep them at home. I'd give them a cardboard box. I'll be like, I want to save that £500. Um, but I know how it feels to keep up with the Joneses, because not only that, this is just very short term things I'm talking about. Even her cars in the UK. So she comes over to the UK maybe once a year for the summer. Sometimes she does come over more. But she has literally the latest car in the UK, all paid off. She doesn't have any car loans. And over in Dubai, she has an even bigger car, completely paid off, latest car. I mean, I'm talking about months old. Like these cars are like literally brand new. And then my other sister, because she's married to a rich man, they have like their cars are just like, yeah, like literally, I wouldn't want to have an expensive car. I would never buy a Lamborghini. Oh my God. I would never do it. Why would you do it? Just hire it out. I'm not going to pay the service charge on a Lamborghini. I'm not going to take it in for its MOT at one of these like expensive garages and, all the rest of it, and then get it serviced and spend all of this money on it and all the rest of it, and then the insurance on it and all the rest of it. I'd rather have a decent, I mean, I do have, I won't lie. I have bought, my car is brand new, and the car before that was brand new as well. It's a Toyota Yaris, and I need it. I need it for work, and also I need a smaller car for London. It's practical. Bearing in mind that car's not yet 3 years old, and I've had 19 tires changed on it. If I was to have a Lamborghini or whatever, I couldn't even afford that. I couldn't even afford to get the silly tires changed. I do know of somebody else who likes these really expensive cars. And don't get me wrong, I do like expensive cars. I actually love them. I love speed and I like racing cars and all the rest of it. But what he does is, and which I respect, is he will pay £400 and take a car out every couple of months. So he'll save up for it, and he'll just take out the car. He has a normal car. Um, so yeah, it's all this behavior. It's all about keeping up with the Joneses. It's all about your mindset and all the rest of it. And it's about how financially literate you are. And many people do not understand budgeting. They do not understand investing. They do not understand mortgage requirements. When your mortgage comes up for renewal, it could go down or it could go up. It's either or. You have to have all of these, you have to be thinking about all of these things. And also that we have a massive lack of access to wealth and support. Families generally are not able to help anymore. Many first generation homeowners don't have access to family gifts, inheritance, or co-signatures, all the rest of it. And that's something that we'll get into. And obviously, another thing is that inflation erodes our savings. So when you're, spending a couple of years saving for your down payment for this house or whatever you want, inflation erodes your savings. So it's like you've been hit twice, if that makes sense. The prices of materials and labor and all the rest of it, they're all increasing. So again, with repairs and, I personally wouldn't buy a new house. I know people who have bought new houses, and I don't think anyone has actually been happy with the new house that they've bought, because there's always things that are wrong with it. I've actually stayed in a brand new house. I went on a retreat and we were put up in a brand new house, and it was me and it was like 10 other girls, and literally things were just like the door handle fell off, the door was wonky, there was an issue with the the bathroom, there was an issue. I don't even think it was something along the lines of they did not connect the gas pipe to to the stove. It was ridiculous. And there were so many issues. And literally, we were like, oh my God, like, how are we going to explain to the owner that we didn't do all this? That literally, as we arrived, as we opened the door, one person actually got stuck, literally stuck in the door because, oh my God, it was so awful. It was actually really, really scary. I'm laughing about it now, but at the time, oh my God, it was so horrible because as she went to close the door handle came off. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, the door handle came off and she was stuck in there. And we were all having kittens because we were like, we have to break this door down. And we were so scared. And none of us was strong enough to break down a door anyway. So I don't even know why we were thinking about that. But yeah, thankfully, I don't know how she did it, but she opened it from the other side. Um, you've also got a lot of market uncertainty. So we had a massive amount of market uncertainty when it came to the pandemic. That happens all the time. Every couple of years, there's always market uncertainty. So we had the financial crash of 2008. A lot of people were left with negative liquidity. Then we had the surge of prices in the pandemic. That's for the UK. I can't remember. I don't know if it happened in America. And then everybody buys the peak. For some reason, it's just the same as crypto. Loads of people just get in at the peak. We also have issues with job security nowadays. You need to have a dual income. It's kind of beautiful because I think certain men are so amazing. So I know a man in crypto, and he said that all he wants to do for this bull run is earn enough money that his wife doesn't have to work because they've got a 1-year-old. And I just thought that was amazing. But this is the thing: if there's two people not working, it's very, very difficult now just to maintain a lifestyle, let alone you know, let alone buying a new house, if that makes sense. It's a vicious, vicious cycle. Renting just traps people. Rents go up, they eat into savings. It's very, very difficult. In fact, in the UK, renting is more expensive than a mortgage. All of this cycle, everything, it just makes the goal of ownership move further and further away. And I honestly do not think that if I had to start over again, if I could do what I did before, I am just so blessed that I did what I did when I was able to do it. Let's just quickly talk about parental support, because this is what I really want to get into. Just very quickly, let me just have a quick look. Crypto Chef, welcome. It's good to have you here, brother. I hope you're well. Much respect to you. Is that your Android phone, or there's absolutely no reason to go and chase the latest models. I don't even know what model the new iPhone is at the moment. I bought mine a year ago, and I think I think 2 or 3 have already come out since then. Builders do cut corners. They do cut corners. And very good point. New houses aren't built the same anymore. They're so cheaply made. Very, very true. Yes, I do like the little Yaris. You'd ruin a Lambo suspension on the roads over there. Probably would. And honestly, even if I had the money, I would not go out and buy a Lambo, if that makes sense. Mine's £5 a month, but my family is all on a plan with the same people. I think you're talking about phones. I personally wouldn't do that. Like literally, I think if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would never get a car loan, and I would never get a loan or whatever they're called, the call plans or whatever they're called to get your phone, to get like this brand new phone with the contract, if that makes sense. All set. Welcome. Oh, and JR's here. Welcome. I think we pay 1,100 every month for our kids to stay over after school. Both work, but still a lot of money. That's a huge amount of money. That is ridiculous. And this is the thing. The family unit has now broken up. So I'm Asian, and even in our sort of culturally sort of thing, we are very, very family orientated. The family unit has broken up. Parents and grandparents used to provide free care, and they were so happy to do it. But now we have individualism and like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and it's all about this. And it's like, no, like when I look after my nieces and nephews, I know it's literally the best time of my life, because that time that I spend with them is, it's so, so beautiful. And I've got no issue helping out my sisters or, anything like that. But the family unit is broken, and nowadays people can't even what's the name, stand their families. I don't know what's going on. Yep, same here, Robsy. Oh my god, great. Yep, exactly the same. Oh, Mark V. Sorry, Mike. Always Mark. I just know too many Marks. So Mike V, welcome. Oh, bless you. Okay, so let's talk about parent support and hand-me-downs. Inheritance in 2025, it's changed. The reality of it has changed. The idea that my parents' home would become mine is often no longer realistic. It it doesn't mean home ownership is dead, but the intergenerational wealth transfer through homes is weaker and less reliable than it was 50 years ago. Like I said, we've had a total and utter breakdown of the family unit, which is really, really sad. One of the things in the UK, I think it's the thing that most people complain about, is loneliness in the UK. um, we can just get into why the family unit has broken down, but it's really, really sad. It really is. Parents are living longer and they need expensive care nowadays. Today's retirees are living into their 80s, their 90s, and it's good news. It's good news. It's great news, but it does come at a cost. Our food is very, very bad. What our diets are completely and utterly processed. The amount of people who are diagnosed with cancer nowadays is ridiculous, and we're getting that possibly from our lifestyles and the food that we're eating. It's the whole system has failed us. And just imagine if it's like this for us, what's it going to be like for our kids unless something changes. Assisted living nursing homes and in-home care costs in America between 4,000 to 10,000 US dollars a month. It's very expensive in the UK as well. It's probably 4,000 pounds in the UK, around about £1,000 a week. So I can imagine it is between 4,000 to 10,000 a month in America. Medicare doesn't cover most long-term care, so aging parents have to tap into their home equity to pay for it. Reverse mortgages, home equity loans, or outright home sales are used to fund care, draining inheritance. That's the reality of it. And if it's not happening in your family now, obviously most of you are not at that age where you'd be looking to inherit anyway. it is a sad, sad truth. We have a rising trend of reverse mortgages. Reverse mortgages let older home owners cash out their equity while staying in the home, but the loan must be repaid when they die. Often the house is already sold. Often the house has to be sold to pay the balance. This means children's inherit debt, not property. It's really, really sad, actually. Really sad, especially for somebody like me who's always said, for me, my Bitcoin is for my great great grandchildren. I do want to leave something for my family. I don't want my life just to be a waste on this earth, if that makes sense. I want to leave it in a better place for my children and obviously the wider society. Um, and just the thought that my children will inherit debt is really, really scary because it's getting to be very, very common. We also have split inheritance. So, like me, when you're coming from a big family, obviously there were six of us, there's five of us now. Um, and not only that, many families do have between 2 to 4 children. If the home is passed to all of them, they might have to sell it to split the proceedings. One child may not be able to afford to buy the others out. The result, the home is sold and no one keeps it. The property is liquidated, not inherited. And I think that's what's happening more than anything else nowadays. Um, and unlike the past, the home doesn't stay in the same family for generations. It's quite sad. It really, really is. When I was doing the research to this, because I get quite emotional anyway, you all know what I'm like. Um, and I worry about other people as well. And it really hurts. Anything that hurts families hurts me. I don't know why. I'm just very much like that. Um, Parents are refinance for survival or for for comfort. So I think we've all seen on the TV, back when I used to watch TV, I haven't watched TV in a long, long time, like I'm talking about years, but there were these advertisements that, oh, you're getting old now, take out some ed- take out some money from your home, and go and live your life, go and travel, blah de blah de blah. And this is the thing, some people don't actually pay into pensions, so they don't have anything there, anything else, so they're taking out money for their own comfort, and then later on they're needing it for survival as well. In the last decades, many older homeowners have refinanced multiple times to cover medical bills, debts, or lifestyle costs. Um, Many have taken out home equity lines of credit. Homes that once had no mortgage are now heavily incumbent again. Oh, I'm getting so sad. I really am. That makes me want to cry, actually. It's awful. It really, really is. Boomers cash out because they have to. Um, Boomers hold a huge portion of the United States home wealth, but 40% have no retirement savings. Many rely on social security alone, and the home becomes their only financial asset. And they have to use it. People don't have a choice. Their houses have to be sold to fund retirement or to fund care and not be passed down to their children. It's so sad. The rising costs makes homes unaffordable for the next generation. Even if a parent can pass down the family home, property taxes, insurance, maintenance are just too high for many heirs. The inheritor may have to sell simply because they can't afford to keep it. Inheritance becomes temporary. The home leaves the family shortly after the transfer. It is so sad. Oh my God. The quiet death of the family home inheritance. The home used to be a multi-generation asset, something your parents will pass to you and you would pass to your kids. Beautiful gift. But now, too often, it's used to pay for end-of-life care. It's sold to be split between multiple heirs because people don't stay together. I don't know how people feel about having different generations in a house, in a home. I think it's so beautiful. I really, really do. I think it's so beautiful. Obviously, everybody wants their own space, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And that can be achieved if you have the right property as well. But refinance or mortgages are too deep to pass on. Too expensive to keep for the next generation. The results, the home gets sold, the money's spent or divided, the legacy ends here. So what does this mean for the next generation? Don't count on inheriting homes to build your wealth. That's the sad truth of the matter. A lot of people, especially in this chat, are young. They're in their 20s and 30s. So they're not even thinking about this. But I speak to people often about their finances. I'm just like that. I'm like, well, how much is your house worth? You know, blah, 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 blah. How much do you have? I'm so bad. And it's really not a British thing. Oh my God. Like, we're quite stiff-lipped about that, but I'm not. I really am not. If your parents own a home, you really should talk openly about their financial plans, long-term care costs, and whether will be any equity left. However, I say that, but I'm not somebody who would ever follow that advice because I would never speak to my parents about death. Never. I literally could not do it. Okay, let's just have a quick look at, oh my God, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's just have a quick look at some of the other comments. Buying a new car, it's hard to pay it off all without doing a loan in the US. I agree. Yeah, they do. Actually, there's a reason behind that. There's a psychological reason behind why teenagers think they know everything. So when you turn 17, 18, blah, de, blah, de, blah, your brain is like, your head doesn't have too much more to grow. So your brain thinks, oh my God, I'm fully grown now. I know everything. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there's a lot of let me just get through the chat. I do apologize. This is very true. You think daycare is expensive? Wait until you see the assisted living bill. Very true. It's a different world now. Bitcoin is hope. It most certainly is. We are so early into Bitcoin. I don't even think you're going to need that much Bitcoin to retire in 10 years. We will talk about the price appreciation. Well, we'll talk about the price of Bitcoin and how far up I think it will go. Dutchy! Oh my God, this is your kind of comic, isn't it, Dutchy? Kids are overrated. Oh no, they're not. I'm having a baby next year. Do not say that to me. Oh my God, like I love kids so much. Just need a baby daddy. Good afternoon to you as well. I hope you're well. Dave Digital is here. Welcome. 420. Welcome to you as well. So do I. I like the old houses, the history of them, and they are so much more easier to live in the UK. So if you actually go, because I used to holiday in the UK back when I was paying off my mortgage, blah, 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 blah. I didn't travel abroad. And I used to holiday in the UK, and I can tell you a cottage built 100, 200 years ago is so much easier to live in, even though the square footing is literally the same. It is so much easier to live in than the house, the new houses that are being built. I'm not going to put these comments on the screen. Oh my gosh. Look at you guys. Lauren's with me. I think this is like us girls, like the British girls. We just like talk about everything, like literally everything. You do not want to know the conversations that we had. I think if men knew the kind of type of conversations that we had, they would be very shocked. I just spoil my sister's three little daughters. Oh, Dutchy, I bet you're such a lovely uncle. Underneath all that manly exterior, I think you're a nice person. God. 4:20, there you go. You know what you'll be doing soon. Mm. We will get to this because I'm such a firm believer on family. So much. Oh, I love Lorena 420. I really do. Okay, so let's just recap because we've come to an hour. I do have a lot more to say on this subject, but I think two live streams are enough, and we've covered it now. So generations ago, back in our grandparents' generation, a house was fully paid off by retirement. Nowadays, it's often refinanced, it's mortgaged again, it's not paid off. Often, some people would never be able to pay off their house. And the sad reality of it is that many people will not even be able to buy a house or a flat nowadays. I just don't think it's possible. I really, really don't. Care back in our grandparents' age, care was covered by pensions or family. Nowadays, it's paid by selling or borrowing against the house, the home. Back in our grandparents' age, houses were passed to their heir or one heir, which was often the eldest son. Nowadays, they're split between multiple heirs. Um, Families are different. Um, so in my family, it's not really women have their husbands. Their husbands are responsible for them, all the rest of it. So it's kind of like the boys would get the inheritance because they will have wives and they will have children that they need to look after, whereas daughters get married and then they become the responsibility of their husband, if that makes sense. um, but nowadays it's literally split between multiple heirs because that type of traditional thinking doesn't really work anymore. So like I said, my marriage broke down, so yeah, it's not like I have anyone to look after me. Property taxes were low and stable back in our grandparents' age or time. Nowadays, they are so burdensome, they are so high. The family stayed in a generation. Back in the day, the family stayed in the home for 2 or 3 generations. If you in the UK, if you actually go out to some of the smaller towns, they will have 5 or 6 generations in the local graveyard, if that makes sense. Nowadays, homes are sold after parents pass. Now, if you add things like the cost of living, even if you get a house, even if you get a house, you may struggle to afford to keep it because people are struggling. There is so much pain in the world nowadays. Even people who you'd look at them and you'll think that they're doing well, but if you scratch between this underneath the surface, they're not. Food and living costs were more affordable back in our grandparents' age, and bearing in mind that the granddad or the king of the house. You can never have, and I always say this to my friends, especially the ones who have fights with their husbands, and they're like, oh, you're single. I'm like, no. I'm like, do not fight with your husband. There can never be two kings in a house. The husband, back in our grandparents' age, he used to go out and he used to work. The wife would look after the house, etc., and it worked, and they were still able to afford these houses. Nowadays, due to the cost of inflation and all the rest of it, you really do need two people to work. Childcare was free back in our grandparents' age. Nowadays it can cost anything from a few hundred to a few £1,000s a month per child, because both husband and wife work. University fees were low. They were minimum debt back in our grandparents' age. Nowadays, they can be very expensive, often hitting six figures in the United Kingdom, in America, and in other many developing countries. And are degrees worth it nowadays? I mean, if you need to be a lawyer or a doctor, blah de blah de blah, it's different. But if you're going to go to university and you're going to be you're going to study art or something like that, then you probably don't need a degree, and it's just going to be a very expensive, costly waste of time. Debt and credit cards back in the day were minimum. Back in our grandparents' age, they had a long-term mindset. Today, most families are in heavy debt. We have car loans, mortgages, rent arrears, credit cards, student debt, family debt, payday loans, store cards, blah de blah de blah de blah. So yes, so the cost of home ownership is very, very difficult. It's very difficult to get onto the property ladder. And if you do get onto the property ladder, you might still not be able to keep the property that you have. And then obviously nowadays we've just spoken about family health and inheritance, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And it does seem like a lot of people, and it's not the same for everyone, obviously, a lot of people are not going to have that and going to be afforded to buy their house that way. So is the new American dream Bitcoin? Hear me out. So Bitcoin has been the best performing asset since its inception. If you look at Bitcoin, although we say it's it has 4-year cycles, blah de blah de blah, literally the Genesis block was on the 3rd of January 2009. And since then, all it's done is just literally go up. Occasionally, every 4 years, that'd be a year where the price does decrease. But technically, we've really actually been in a bull market for the last, 16 odd years. It was worth pennies back in 2009, 2010. Now it's worth over 100,000 per coin. It's scary that 90% of the supply of Bitcoin has already been mined. And in the next 11 years, in 2036, that figure will be 99. Bitcoin is a scarce asset, and there's only 1.11 million Bitcoins that are left to be mined, and already 4 or 5 million have been lost. So when we say there'll only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, there won't ever be 21 million Bitcoins available for purchase. Once Bitcoins are taken off the exchanges, they may never come back onto a public exchange again. Strategy does not plan to sell its Bitcoin for 100 years. Michael Saylor has said that he will burn his keys when he dies. Bitcoin is very, very rare. It's getting rare, even more rarer. And then when you think about it, there are in the world, so about 2% of Bitcoin addresses hold one or more Bitcoin, and globally only a tiny fraction of people will ever be able to own one full Bitcoin. The new American dream is becoming a full whole one coiner. As supply tightens and adoption grows, one Bitcoin could become even more elite, and it will become a symbol of early accumulation. Globally, there are about 58 million millionaires. Not every single millionaire could have a Bitcoin. I believe if every single millionaire was to get an equal amount of Bitcoin, it will be 0.36 of a Bitcoin. Worldwide, there's actually over 3,000 billionaires. 3,000 billionaires, and it only takes literally a split second for the mindset of somebody to change. And if they turn into, or if they think, well, actually, if Michael Saylor's going around buying millions and millions of, well, sorry, hundreds of Bitcoins, millions and millions, sorry, millions of dollars of Bitcoins, he's buying hundreds of Bitcoin, then that means that I'm gonna buy some Bitcoin. Billionaires do not need to seek permission from shareholders. They don't need to seek permission from anyone. They can just literally go to OTC and literally buy as much Bitcoin as they want. Countries like Bhutan have been secretly mining Bitcoin since 2019. Institutions are putting Bitcoins onto their balance sheets. Literally, one public company is coming on and publicly saying that they're going to put Bitcoin into their balance sheets every single day. The miners are holding Bitcoins. They don't want to sell. Countries are adopting Bitcoin. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. It's been over an hour. So I'm just going to quickly check the comments. But yes, most definitely, it is easier to buy Bitcoin. Not only do you not have to buy when you buy a house, say it's 300,000 US dollars. For example, I've just taken out a number out of the air. You know, you have to pay the down payment, then get a mortgage or pay it off in full. With Bitcoin, you can buy Bitcoin. You can buy $10 off Bitcoin every single day. It's far more easier to buy Bitcoin. And because the Bitcoin is becoming more and more scarce, and yet is becoming more and more adopted by countries and institutions and millionaires and billionaires and people like us, a lot of legitimacy has been. Dutch, you're going to get a timeout. You know, Bitcoin, you're more likely to be able to own a house if you buy Bitcoin now in 10 years than if you are to save for it. K-Jam, welcome to the show. I hope you're well. He might do, but he does deserve on the same side of the coin. He does deserve a statue as well, because what he's done for Bitcoin is amazing. I remember mining Bitcoin on my old laptop years ago. God knows what happened to that. My goodness. And not only that, Robsy, I've lost Bitcoin as well. So yeah, so we've both lost Bitcoin. So the supply of Bitcoin is diminishing, even with people like us. I wonder how much Sale is holding separate from strategy. I did know, I can't remember right now. Yeah. Oh, you two are so funny. I love you too. That's too much. That really, really is. 25% on their income on housing. You know, we literally still are slaves, if I'm completely honest. We literally are. We're just slaves who can vote. It's really, really sad actually. This live stream's made me really, really sad. I'm emotional as it is. Anyway, thank you all for watching. We will have another live stream this time next week. On Thursday, we've got Brendan Key's interview, his crypto story. He's a funny one. So his girlfriend, I mean, he bought the March 2020 dip, one of the worst corrections in Bitcoin's history. His girl were, yeah, that's right, all set. That's right. His girl was crying and she was saying, do not buy Bitcoin. What are you doing? You're ruining our future. He did it anyway. That relationship didn't last. We should probably have a live stream on something like this as well, because I think that resonates with a lot of us. My ex did not want me to come into crypto. Thank God I didn't listen to him. But there you go. So this was a very sobering live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. No, sorry, on Thursday for Brendan Key's crypto story. He's a Bitcoin maxi, and his YouTube channel is The Green Candle. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.